Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Hyperdrive Inn Devlog. In this episode I'm going to talk a little bit about the structure of the game and how we are utilizing randomization. So let's get to it. Hyperdrive Inn is an adventure game that aims to maximize replay value, and we are doing this with randomized content. This requires some explaining because we are not using randomization just for the sake of it to produce superficial and cosmetic fluff. Everything we randomize is handcrafted and links directly into the narrative of the game. Look, I know exactly how this sounds, but hear me out. A lot of thought and care has went to the structure of the game, and as replay value is one of the key selling points of the game, we certainly don't want to screw it up. Basically, we have a ton of different levels, and out of these levels a certain number is selected for each playthrough. We could use a simple funnel to randomize the whole content and see what comes out of it, but instead we have a pretty solid structure for the content so that it remains cohesive. All the levels of the game are organized in different sets of levels. As the player progresses in the game, a new level is selected at random from these level sets and presented to the player. This way we can actually have a solid story progression while maintaining the replay value we are aiming for. For each playthrough, these levels are connected differently. And we have safeguards in place that prevent the same content to be used twice on subsequent playthroughs. Each of these levels are linked to each other in some way. You see familiar NPCs in different places, and they remember the encounters you had with them before. The goal is to provide an entirely fresh experience for several playthroughs. The content is in no means infinite. We aim for 3 distinct playthroughs and added variety if the player wants to continue playing. The choices you make during the game will also have an impact on the narrative, so there's also a second layer of variety. In total, we're aiming for approximately 4 hours for a single playthrough. The story itself can be experienced during a single playthrough, but completing the game more than once gives different perspectives to the narrative. I'm going to do a separate episode of the story sometime in the near future, but as I have previously mentioned, we have a good reason from the narrative side as well to use this kind of structure in Hyperdrive Inn. This week I've been working on a level which has this giant Tyrannosaurus and a bunch of scientists. The scientists are thinking about what to do with their little science experiment, and the dinosaur has its own agenda. The player can choose who to help, because leaving this room requires taking sides. I also completed the forest level I showed you guys in the previous episode. It turned out pretty great, and I'm especially proud of some of the puzzles which require some basic know-how of Finnish language. There's still a lot to do, but the game is progressing quite nicely. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing for this channel. It would mean a lot. And Hyperdrive Inn is on Steam, available for wishlisting, so go check it out and add it to your wishlist if you find the game interesting. All the relevant links can be found in the description of this video. I'll see you guys again next week, so until then, bye bye!